We're just gonna start off the podcast with just how's everyone been doing this week? What has everyone been up to?
I've
Uh,
I've been
Just
up
take it away.
to pretty much nothing. Feed
I
my
made a new
dogs,
invention.
game, sleep, the life of a gamer.
Waking up my parents at 4 in the morning and putting random objects in mugs and drinking it.
I've actually been doing some work to get ahead in college.
Well, Josh, you're
Cringe.
the only productive person here.
I mean,
What about
Pleb's
Pleb?
starting his job, so
Yeah, I've
technically
been
speaking,
working 90 to
Caleb-
100 hours a
Caleb is
week
the most
every 2
productive
weeks.
person here.
I mean, I've been doing productive stuff as well. So
That's all. Hey, as long as everybody's doing something productive and doing something, then I mean, hey,
Exactly.
I'm working on an album. So if
Hey.
you consider that productive. So
no, that's definitely productive. That's really hard to do.
Wait, so what kind of album is it gonna be?
blues rock, blues and jazz. So
Have you got a
Ooh.
saxophone?
yeah, I actually have someone from my dorm last year.
Good, because if
Dude.
it's not a saxophone, then it's not jazz.
Yeah,
It has
we've
to
got
be a saxophone.
we've got everyone lined up. We've been one of the guitar players and I have been writing. I mean, Josh is in the group too, as long as he wants to be. So I've sent him the links. He's heard the stuff. So
Josh, is it good?
It is. Oh, it's amazing.
I'm gonna need that link.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hear it soon because
I'll send you guys the
the
audio.
boys,
I'll send you guys the audio files after.
you boys need to get the first scoop.
Get it live on the podcast.
We're actually so the
Maybe
whole
a clip.
well, now they're just like crappy phone recordings as of right
Oh.
now. But as of right now, we have about 22 ideas for songs. Whether it's stuff that me or the other guitar player, well, I'm bass, me or the other guitar players come up with. So we've got about 18, 22 ideas. Josh is gonna be guitar and keys. I'm gonna be bass and a harmonica. We have another guitar player. We have a guy who also plays guitar and sings. He's fantastic. And then we have a guy who drums like Neil Peart. So I'm kind of dummy
Good.
excited. Josh
Dude,
has heard the audio files of all of them. So
That's kind of
That's-
crazy how y'all have already 22 ideas.
yeah. And then we've already written it out. So one of the songs on the first album is gonna be, it's actually gonna start out with a drum solo. So
Good.
Good. All right.
yeah, I guess that's my sense of production for the week. So
Shall we get started on our topics?
Indeed.
yeah. So the first topic we're gonna talk about today is let me go to the chat. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that. Someone else should read it because I don't want to show my Discord on stream.
Oh,
I just
okay.
realized that.
Our first
I got the-
topic is abandoning the PC for PS5 or the Xbox One X.
Do you think people are actually gonna do that? I mean,
I doubt it. I mean, a mid-range PC would outperform the PS5, or at least a PS4. I don't know the PS5 specs, but a PS4, it would outperform it by a factor of 4.
have you seen the videos of the PS5?
What
No,
are the
I
new
have not.
specs? What are the specs of each one?
They don't really match up to like PC specs. That's the thing. They all have AMD stuff. So
Well, what's the hard drive looking like? What's the
oh, it doesn't have a hard drive. They all have
Alright.
super fast SSDs that
Yeah,
act
SSDs,
almost
that's
as a
actually really good.
secondary RAM.
I will say this: they are catching up, and they are making product, and I am so happy about that because the console players can finally enjoy some of the things that PC can offer.
Yeah, so the PS5 has 16 gigabytes of memory, and it's releasing Q4 2020, so just Christmas. And
Wow.
they're going off of AMD's 8-core Zen 2, which has like built-in ray tracing too.
That's crazy. Like honestly,
what's the price range gonna be?
I think it's gonna be like $500. Let me check.
See, the problem with
What will be the price of the PS5?
Okay.
Around $470.
So here's the deal, right? When it comes to PC versus console gaming, right? Everyone here played a console at one point, correct? What was the last console you guys owned? Or if you didn't own one, right? Charles, were you in?
I never
into
owned
console
one,
gaming?
but I have played a bunch of PS3 and the Wii. That's about it.
That counts.
What? So Sam, you had a PS4. Josh, what did you have?
I had
a
a
PS4 as
I got
well.
an Xbox 360 when I was like 13.
What?
And then I
But
got
didn't you have a PS4?
And then I got a PC when I was 16.
When did
Little
you?
note,
When did you guys switch to PC gaming? Is the question.
2016, 2017, down there.
I'm not really
Greatest
sure.
change.
Probably around 2016, yeah.
Because this for this topic as well, it would be a lot easier to talk about it as well and just include the whole topic of PC gaming versus console gaming. So that's why I kind of bring it up. Because I switched when the Xbox One and the PS4 were released. For me, that would have been about the summer before my ninth grade year, my freshman year. So I bought a gaming laptop for at that time $800, and at that time it was good enough to
Jeez.
run. It was on sale, and it was good enough to run CS:GO at 250 frames on a laptop. So and
Pretty good, actually.
this would have been about what when the Xbox One and PS4 released.
Wasn't it
Around
2012 or 13?
It was like 2012 or 2013. Yeah.
So this would have
Yes.
almost been a decade ago, kind of thing.
Yeah, like 8 years ago.
And the biggest argument when it comes to PC versus console gaming is console exclusives, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's if you're looking at it financially, just switch to PC gaming, because Josh as of recent had the most problematic PC, right? Your PC burned out after 4 years of use, right?
Almost daily use.
4 years of daily use, and what, you paid about $1,000 for it?
1200.
So what's that average? About 300 a year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is you get what you pay for with PC. So
I mean, you paid a fair amount.
also, if you think about it, let's say you own I don't know, PS4, right? So PS4, the live is $60 a year.
Yeah, same thing with Xbox.
Which doesn't
So
go
you
to
pay
anything.
you pay that for 6 years. It's $540 plus the $300 it costs to buy the console. You could buy a decent PC for the same price over 8 years
Yeah, exactly.
with 3 times the quality. And frankly, it's just, I feel like that the consoles just have a lock on the market because of the ease of access. PC gaming kind of has a learning curve, whereas console gaming, you can just pick up a controller, turn on the console, and you're already going. Whereas
When-
PC, you actually have to kind of understand what's going on. You kind of have to know how the computer works. You have to be able to navigate, and there's a learning curve. And some people just don't have the time for that. And so I think that that's probably one of the reasons why there's been a little bit of a domination on the market of consoles, their availability and their convenience.
I would like to
one of
add
the
something.
biggest things. All right, Sam, you go first. Go for it.
No, you go first. My thing is kind of off topic, but it's
Okay,
it's about
so
consoles.
the thing is, it's when you're comparing price differences, right? PC is gonna dominate the market, right? Because not only in the sense of you don't have to pay for live connection, you just have internet access, right? So on console, you're still gonna be paying internet for live connection plus your live connection.
Yeah,
So
it's
Jo-
like an
Josh already-
imaginary fee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Josh already touched on this point, right? But the thing is, it's with PC, you don't have that. And when it comes to buying games on PC
You have
as
so
well,
many options.
yeah, now there's competition. Because I remember when I started, it was you got League of Legends on Riot Games, and that was it, kind of thing. That was really the only competition in the PC market, because it was Steam, and just if you wanted to play League of Legends, which was free anyway, you just downloaded it from Riot Games. But Steam, you have Epic Games, and you have the other ones. Like no one really
Like
cares. No one really
Battle.net,
cares
all
about the
that.
other ones. But
I mean,
The- I mean, the thing is, it's like if you look at it right now, right? I know Xbox has been doing this recently. Well, they'll do like you pay for the membership, right? So like the $60 a month, and you get like one free game, right? Is Can anyone confirm this? The
no,
Xbox,
Yeah.
Xbox
whatever it
has
is?
like
Yeah,
a lot
they
more
use-
than that. They have this thing that's like $1 a month for like the first year or something like that, and you get access to a whole bunch of games.
Yeah, but see, the difference is and like we just did this last night because one of the games on Epic Games is releasing games that are you could buy on console for $60, but they're releasing them for free, right? So like someone in our gaming group just got Grand Theft Auto like a week ago for free, and they own it now on Epic Games, and all of us I think got what Civ 6,
Mm.
which is another $60 game.
Sam, did you
like-
get it?
What?
Civ 6?
I've had Civ 6 since I got this computer.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I remember when it came out, and Josh was convincing me to buy it, right? And it was like, this goes for all gaming market. It doesn't matter if you're PC or console. You just have to know how to play your market better. And I know for all of us who are either working, either a working citizen like Kleb, or college students like most of us are, or Sam is like in his last couple years of high school, right? So we're not, financially speaking, we're not dead set, except for maybe Kleb, right? Like
Sort
so the most of the people playing video games, except for the exception right now, given coronavirus, are gonna be people who are not having that great of a financial income, just because you have a ton of spare time on your hands. Am I right?
True.
I mean, yeah, you're true. I mean, it's like, I mean, I understand that too. Especially going back to the topic where Josh was saying like the ease of access for a PlayStation rather than a PC because it is a learning curve to own a PC. But I think like a console is more like a family thing because it's a whole lot easier to learn. Like kids could literally get on the console and instantly know how to do everything within what, like a day, and the PC is like way
30
more
minutes.
difficult. Yeah, 30 minutes, maybe a day. I mean, to get used to it. But I think the console is just a really good family device if you want to use it as that. But and going back to the topic of like the free games a month on the PlayStation, I remember if you had the PlayStation Plus membership, it was like $60 a year, right? So you get one free game a month, but it's like some crappy like game
Indie
usually.
title.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like really bad usually.
Like Journey. Journey was good, but it's just an example of an indie title. You know, nobody really knows, but then it's popular and then no one plays it anymore.
Yeah, like some of them like are just really bad, and then like every 6 months they'll come out with a decent free game that people enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
so
all I'll have to really say about that.
it's like you need to like truly know your market, right? So when we're discussing this, it's like the new generation of consoles, and I had an original Xbox. So when the new generation of consoles came out, PC gaming wasn't something that you really talked about, especially given my age, kind of thing. But now it's like, and one thing, now it's like anyone can get a PC, kind of thing, because the market is more out there, your competition, kind of thing. So you're gonna end up paying the same amount either way, or maybe a little bit less for PC when you think about it, because you don't have to pay for the Prime or whatever, the Gold membership, which given both Microsoft and Sony being, the whole thing is like a money grab for them, they're 100% going to charge a $60 pass again to play online. So
May I add something to this?
yeah, go for it.
Okay, the thing about price ranging with PC gaming is that, like Josh said, you get what you pay for. But, let's say you want a top-notch PC, like over-the-top, run 4K games, right? You're paying upwards of $1,600 to more on your GPU, your CPU, motherboard, RAM, everything.
plus whatever you're paying additionally for the monitor and for your keyboard, your
Yeah.
mouse, that kind of stuff.
But here's the catch too. The thing about PC gaming is that it's all up to you. You know, I could take grandmother's burner PC that she used to send emails twice a year, and I could play, I don't know, CS:GO at like 30 frames maybe.
Yeah, like
I mean, it all depends on what you want to play, what your price range is, what you want to do with your computer.
yeah, and that is completely true for any market, right? So the point that Josh brought up and Sam's touching on is completely up to you, right? So if you're a casual gamer anyway, who's like what, let's say you're into platformers, right? So you're into like a bunch of platforming games where it's like you don't really play online, it's kind of a LAN based thing. So if you get that in console, it's easier to bring for your friends to bring over a singular controller than it is their PC and have a LAN party with you, kind of thing.
And that's
And
definitely
Unless they have a
true.
laptop.
Yeah, which that's where like stuff like Nintendo comes in, right? Because Nintendo is like the LAN party king,
Sure.
right?
I will say this: Nintendo knows how to market.
I
They
mean,
know,
and even stuff like Switch, right? Like the Switch was genius for
still is.
like the compatibility with it for both transport gaming and like stationary gaming was genius for Nintendo. But you don't see guys like Microsoft and Sony doing this kind of thing
Because
for
they
that
they
reason.
know that it wouldn't be original.
Well,
You know-
it doesn't matter if it's original, right? Because look at the battle royale market. The
Well, yeah,
battle
but what I'm
royale-
saying here is when you think handheld game, you think Game Boy, DS, and all that stuff, right? That's all Nintendo. So, you know, for Sony and Microsoft to make something after, you know, Game Boy 20 years later, it's just, it's out of the blue. It wouldn't make any sense, and I think people would just stick more to Nintendo games.
Yeah, well, back to the you're definitely right about that. But back to the whole like, what's the better market, PlayStation versus Xbox versus PC, kind of thing. I think the final answer I'm gonna go with is I'm gonna say PC, just because I'm in the market, you know it, kind of thing. Like
I definitely agree.
it's an easier market kind of thing. And then one of the things when it was like that Josh brought up was the which one's easier to learn kind of thing. You can sit down with a game on PlayStation or Xbox and just play with a controller, right? And then you're like, oh, you're kind of figuring it out, as opposed to like reorganizing your hands for like WASD movement and mouse movement kind of working together. But the thing is, for PC as well, if you already have a controller and you buy a PC, you can connect it.
Yeah.
Because
You can use any controller you want.
because most controllers come with either corded, which is just a USB plug-in, or they're Bluetooth, which if your PC doesn't have, if you buy a new PC and it doesn't come with Bluetooth capability, you're getting ripped off. Kind of thing. So it's and the thing is, it's like bringing up a counter argument for this. What if someone is like, all my friends are on console, I'm on PC, I want to move to that market?
Then you can
Kinda thing.
play
Cross-play.
cross-platform.
All power to
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. See, it's like
Like that's
the
what I
argument
do.
for the market. The argument for the market now doesn't really exist because of games with crossplay. Right.
The main problem is that there's so few games with crossplay. There's Modern Warfare, Fortnite, Minecraft. That's basically the big three. And
The problem is with that is it depends on the game, right? Like Fortnite has the capability of being cross-platform because it's not all about precision aim, right? Who just left? Josh just left?
Sorry.
He came back.
It's all good. So like you're not gonna have a game like CS:GO be cross-platform because it's an unfair advantage, right? Like Call of Duty is a little different. I mean, it is a shooter and it's based in aim, but like when it comes to games like Minecraft and Fortnite, the major skill gap when it comes to Fortnite isn't aim, because Cleb and I have played Fortnite with our aim capabilities and we just still get wrecked. kind of thing. It's how good of a builder you are in Fortnite.
Also,
So-
like I was just thinking about this is like the new Madden 20 game. If you get it on console, you can download like a DLC pack to where you can play like with college football teams, but you get a limited amount. And if you get it on the PC and plug in your controller, you could download way more DLCs. Like you could literally get all the college football teams on there. So you're getting more. So I mean, it kind of goes back to the topic of the market. So I think that's just a little bit better, like advantage. Like you're not getting an advantage, but it's a better market to have it on your PC because you can download way more rather than on the PlayStation. You just can't download as much, and you're kind of limited. On the PC, you can. I mean, it's just wide open.
And
See, that's what
In
that's
addition
what I
to
was saying.
that, it's like you also when you since we're talking about it in economic terms, you know, a lot of people they'll play games on their PC, but then they'll do work on their PC too. And I feel like, you know, that's kind of it's a efficient and economical integration of the two things. You know, you can go, you know, you can play games at night, but during the day you can do all your work, and it's all one console, or it's all one machine, I should say. So I feel like that's a lot more economical than having two separate things. You know, for one to play video games and one to work. It's like just make it all one. You know,
Yeah.
and so I feel like that's just a better purchase. And frankly, you know, I think a lot of it is just a lack of awareness. People are like, oh, PCs are too complicated. I don't have time to figure it out. You know, that happens. That's with a lot of things. It's like people just don't take the time to actually figure something out. They want immediate, like, you know, they want immediate satisfaction, which is partly why consoles are so popular because they provide that for the customer.
true.
I agree.
One other
You're exactly
thing,
right.
one other thing is PC players a lot of the time they know they can like find good deals in places like G2A Games, Green Man Gaming,
Steam sales.
Steam
Steam
sales.
sales. Oh
So-
yes.
Like,
Steam
Like-
sales.
one of the biggest things is in a consumer-based market, right? So back to the whole economics behind it. If you're in a consumer-based market, you're gonna go to where you pay the least amount of money, especially if you're like in that group that doesn't have a massive amounts of income, right? So like if you can pay like $10 for a game that normally goes for 60 during a Steam sale,
Why wouldn't you?
yeah. Like I've seen people like be like, yeah, I'm gonna drop like $80 in a Steam sale, and they come out with like 90 games or something like that. Like it's ridiculous.
One problem with stuff like that, there's like stuff like the Humble Bundle gaming stuff. A lot of the games are just not something you want to play.
Yeah,
I mean-
like you could buy random CD keys on G2A. I bought one of those packs of $5 for $2 or €2, and it was all just like puzzle indie games, puzzles. One was called Soulbringer, and it looked like someone was trying to summon Cthulhu. It was weird. It's like nobody wants to play those games. You're exactly right. Some of the time.
Yeah, but even like what AAA titles like on Steam like a week ago, all the Call of Duties went on sale, right?
Yeah, I bought
Yeah.
Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2 for half of their original price and got the DLC with them.
Yeah, but it's like the thing is, it's like when it comes to consoles as well, a lot of people are still for the console market, you're either buying the disc and downloading it to your game, or you're buying it online, right? And if you buy it through the Microsoft Store or the PSN Network, you're gonna still pay $60 for it. Kind of thing. It's like they're never gonna go discounted on a AAA title like that. It's just how they make their money.
I mean, they might
So-
sometimes, but
You
it's
know,
very rare.
speaking of cheap products, kind of off topic, but what's your opinion on the current situation in terms of like America's dependence on China for basic necessities?
Oh, speaking of that, Apple has started to move some of their stuff for like making AirPods. Some of the cases for the AirPods say made in Vietnam, or no, assembled in Vietnam instead of China. So they're starting to somewhat diversify.
Well, I mean, I think this is a perfect transition kind of thing because we've been on the topic of the console gaming that we've been jumping down rabbit trails for a while. So the topic we're moving to is the U.S. dependency on China or Vietnam, right, for essential products. Right?
Chinese domination of the international commerce market.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
So, you know, this whole coronavirus has really exposed the thin fabric of the, you know, world economy. You know, supposedly post World War II, we're supposed to have a global economy, right? You know, globalism, free market enterprise between nations. And, you know, we had that for a while, and then China decided to start cheating. So now that they've started to cheat, we have to make the game fair again. So, in my opinion, I believe that we should cut all ties with China. I think we should move all of our economic capital out of China and put it back in the United States. And one way that we could do that is by providing incentives through the federal government to companies that will move their factories back to the United States will receive incentives for that. Because I feel like the only way that we can make this fair is to where we have to force the Chinese to play by the same rules as everybody else.
What do you mean incentives, though?
Tax
Meaning,
breaks.
Yeah.
Tax breaks, zoning, laxing of restrictions. I mean, the thing is that before the Tax Cut Act of 2017, the corporate business tax rate in the United States was 35%. That was the highest in the world. You know, I understand why companies wanted to leave to go to China because they have a low corporate tax rate. So we lowered it to 20%. And now you see businesses coming back from China, but we need more of that to happen, or else, you know, we're seeing drug shortages, we're seeing shortages of personal protective equipment. Smithfield pork or meat processing
Is that the
owned
one
by China.
Is that the
Shut
one where it
down.
had the pigs
One
piled
out of
high?
4 pigs are owned by China, or owned by Smithfield. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what is the precedent for that? You know, one country owning a fourth of the pork supply. You know, that's
In the
a
United States.
major market. That is a major essential market that should be in the United States. And even if the pigs they're born here and they're shipped to China afterwards to be processed. You're
They're
telling me
killed here and then they're sent to China.
Yeah, you're saying we can't have a processing plant here?
That's crazy.
It is kind of ridiculous. I don't know.
I mean,
All
well,
of it is really ridiculous at this point. I feel like, especially going back to the personal protective equipment and prescription drugs, like a lot of prescription drugs and medicine is made in China. and
It's
shipped over.
ridiculous how much.
And so the personal protective equipment like masks, we had a shortage of masks and ventilators and all this other different stuff. So companies started making more in the U.S. to provide to the hospitals. So I mean, I really do think that we should have our own supply in America, like of personal protective equipment, of anything. Like we should have
Our
essentials like that.
independence.
Yeah, independence.
Economic independence. I have no qualms against free trade, but the problem is that it's not free trade. It's rigged trade.
exactly.
It's one-sided.
You know,
it's not
yeah.
meant. Trade isn't meant to be dealt with. Like it's rigged more towards one country than the other.
Yeah.
And China has way more, value in this trade and way more. We'll just say. They just have they're just better at this trade stuff than we are.
Well, I mean,
Like,
that's why
they
you
just-
see. That's why you see the president LARPing about the trade deficit with China. It's because we lose money trading with them. That's how is a business supposed to run like that? An example would be the post office, right? People were getting mad because Donald Trump was like, "Oh, post office needs to raise its rates," but because we want to run things like a business. You know that the USPS ran an $18 billion deficit last year. What kind of business runs in an $18 billion deficit? If it was any other business, it would go under. But it's propped up by your taxpayer money to be lazy and inefficient and outdated. Frankly, I think we should abolish the post office.
I mean,
think there's a
FedEx,
lot of stuff we should
FedEx,
abolish, but-
UPS, lots of things. I think there are a lot of outdated institutions that were useful in the 19th century, but they're not useful now.
See, I don't agree with that, technically. Like, because you gotta think, all these... I mean, I kind of agree with it, but I kind of don't, because, you know, the company I work for, they make the UPS trucks, they make FedEx trucks, they make the new Amazon trucks that are coming out. A lot of these new trucks they're making are also natural gas. Some of them are going to be electric, you know.
Yeah,
like
I'm not
Amazon is one-
arguing with UPS, FedEx, or Amazon. I'm talking about the federal institution of the United States Postal Service.
Oh, okay.
which is the
okay.
separate
All
entity.
mail should be privatized.
No, because here's the thing, right? You remember when we were little, you wanted to buy something, right? It took 6 weeks to get there, right? 6 to 8 weeks after you ordered it. Why do you think that changed?
Because
The
private
only reason that changed, yeah, is because of
parcel
private
stuff
competition.
became better.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you have Prime shipping, where you can order something from Germany and get it in 2 days, because there's competition. The post office is just outdated. It doesn't work efficiently. It wastes money, and frankly, we'd be a lot better off just having FedEx bring our mail. Like, what difference does it make?
Yeah,
See,
I applied for
Mail
a,
is mail.
I applied for a Food Lion MVP card 6 months ago to the date, right? Not today, just 6 months ago.
Close, pretty close.
It has not been like shipped here yet.
Or
I've
is
looked
it
in the.
coming through the United States Postal Service?
I'm assuming so, because if it was with UPS or FedEx, it would be here 6 months ago, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I haven't even gotten it, or a notice saying it can't be shipped or anything. You know, it just doesn't work.
which I mean,
Well-
it kind of goes to the point where, you know, you kind of have to adapt with the times, and your company always has to evolve and grow with the current times and the demands of the people, right? So if you don't do that, you're going to fail. Your business is 100% going to fail if you do not adapt and change.
Unless you're the federal government.
Yeah, unless you're the
Exactly.
federal government.
And then you're
But
propped
if
up.
I mean, that's what we were talking about at work. Like, you know, like the new Amazon trucks, they're already starting to talk about electric vehicles. UPS is going to start doing a lot of natural gas vehicles, which they already have implemented in a lot of cities, especially in California because of the, you know, very bad regulations over there for emissions. And it's just crazy. I mean, it's a good thing that they're adapting with the times, because the businesses that are buying those trucks want to see that, like, they want to see that they can do this, you know. And so that's why business I feel like in America would be better, because if it's over in China, you know, it could be unbalanced, unfair. It's very poor working conditions over there. They might not adapt with the change, but a lot of American companies are willing to adapt with the change
Yeah,
to meet
that's why-
customer and company demands.
and that's why made in China is synonymous with junk, right?
Yeah,
When you see
kinda
something's
true.
made in China, like, you know that it's most likely not going to be a good quality, because there's no competition to you know, push against that to say, oh, we're going to make a better product, but so the other company isn't going to sell any, so they have to make it better, and that make it better. That's how change is driven, which is partly why I don't understand this whole socialist ideology at all, because you know, equal distribution of wealth brings laziness and sloth. Why work harder if you're not going to get anything in return, right? You talk about Norway, right? You know how Democrats discuss Norway as like this socialist paradise, right?
Kind of.
You know, there's 30-hour work weeks, and well, of course, you know, it's a social. There's no chance of you getting any higher than anyone else. You know, so you just go to your job, you just sit at a desk, you type on your computer, and you go home. That's it. That's life.
yeah.
There's nothing else. There's
So,
no
I mean-
chance of rising above, of making something of yourself, of you know, bringing your business up, of, you know, becoming wealthy. It's just you're beaten down so much by the oppressive bureaucracy that's just like you just go to work, you do your job, you go home, you eat, you go to sleep. That's it.
Repeat.
No one is any better than anyone else. What kind of society is that? That's a society that brings no innovation. Do you ever hear of a Nordic, innovation in technology or science or medicine or
I mean, there's
literature
Minecraft.
or
That
anything?
doesn't
Well, that was
count.
actually made in the United States though. It was just a Norwegian guy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you ever hear of that? Like, the only thing you hear about is the Vikings. That's it. You never hear about modern Norway because nobody cares because they don't provide anything.
IKEA.
It was
Also in America.
That's a Swedish
Wow.
thing.
Yeah, it's
Swede
also
is
Swedish. Sweden's totally
Scandinavia.
different. Sweden is actually nice because they call it a socialist paradise, but it's actually one of the most privatized countries in the world. The banking system is completely privatized.
I mean,
So,
especially
as well
like,
as healthcare.
going back to
Good.
the China topic, like about how the trade and everything. It kind of just goes back to like there's so many people that live in China, and it's like China's a big country, right? There's so many people that live there. A lot of companies can get cheap labor.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And there's no
And that's
labor
why a lot of-
standards.
Yeah, there's no labor standards, and the Chinese they don't care about the work environment. They don't care about anything like that. They
don't
as
care
long
about
as
the
care
job
about the
gets
workers.
done- yeah, they don't care about the workers or the work environment. So as long as the job gets
Yeah.
done and it gets sold and it gets shipped to the U.S., then I mean then they're all good. But I mean you're working people to death in sweatshops and I mean it's kind of crazy.
Horrific.
It is horrific.
Totally agree.
True. That also
Yeah,
applies.
I had written some. Oh, sorry,
that
Charles. you
applies
go.
to a bunch of other like Southeastern Asian countries too, like Vietnam, even places like Indonesia. Just
Malaysia.
sweatshops in general aren't a good thing.
Yeah, and I mean
It's
you
basically
I mean,
Slavery.
It is slavery.
it's wage slavery.
Yeah, and it's like the thing in Japan too, because like I heard a lot of things about Japan where they work like insane amount of hours a week and they overwork them, and then like people have died because of the overworking in Japan, and it's just poor work conditions. They don't care about their workers. All they care about is corporate profit and gain. It's all about It's all about like a corporate deal.
Well,
It's not
the
about
thing.
the customer.
The thing in Japan as well is if you like look into anything, like Japan. So the way schooling in Japan is set up is it's like you take a test 8th grade year, right, and that basically determines your outcome. But in Japan, it's like every child's dream to work at corporate office, right? That's basically where the like because like the American thing, the American dream, somewhat as most people used to believe it was start your own business, right? Like you do your business that you want to do, but if you want to say the Japanese dream is like you get a job in a corner office in a corporate association or just something like that, and you just work until you die. Like that's where the Japanese like this is what you should do. This is the highest thing to do, kind of thing. And it's like that in some places in China. Is you go to school, and then out of school, you go work a corporate job, and then you're done, kind of thing. That's just your life. So that's where a lot of the emphasis is on.
It's a travesty too. You know, they don't get to fulfill their dream. Their dream, really, yes, like you
They're
said,
like fed
but you know,
dreams.
they're basically brainwashed.
I mean,
Yeah,
I wouldn't say the Japanese are brainwashed.
But
It
the
They
makes
live in a
Chinese
free
people
society. The Chinese are, but the Japanese are just hardworking people.
Yeah,
They're
no,
hardworking people, but it goes to the fact that like, imagine you being as a child, right? And you see your dad going to work and working really hard to provide for his family, and you're like you're looking up to your dad, and you're like, oh, I want to be like him, and it's kind of like implemented to you at a young age that I guess that if there is since there is a lot of workers in Japan that are like that, I guess that if you have a kid, then I mean, and they see that, they're gonna want to follow their dad's footsteps.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with
implement-
instilling a sense of hard work in a child.
No, there's not. There's not. That's what I'm saying. But it doesn't give them the option to fulfill their dreams. That doesn't mean that they're not a hard worker, but it does, it kind of be like, oh, I want to be like my dad, but it's like you should be your own person and work hard at whatever you do.
But don't they choose that out of their own volition? Because you did say, I want to be like my dad, not I have to be like my dad.
Well, the thing about it in Japan is the test after 8th grade, and you can actually look this up. This is when the highest suicide rate is. Like, so say your dad is working in a corporate position, right? So let's have this scenario: your dad's working in a corporate position. Your dad works hard. He teaches you like hard work is a good thing, right? It's amazing, and that's a good thing because, like Josh said, there's nothing wrong with teaching someone that hard work is a good thing. Josh, what's happening to your camera, Sam?
I have no idea.
Okay. But then you take the test in Japan after 8th grade, and it's like, oh yeah, congratulations, you took the test. Your future profession is custodian. That's determined by that test. Like, there's no potential to move up in that society. What you get on that test is what you do.
It's sort of like a caste system.
Yeah, essentially. And but it's not rigged from the start, right? So that's why, like,
but it's determined. But after that, it's basically like a caste system.
No.
Like
By what I mean by not rigged from the start is it's the only potential to move up in the world is from doing the grades, right? So that's why there's such a heavy emphasis on hard work in school in Japan, because you want to get as good of a grade on that test as you can, kind of thing. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing hard work, or with wanting to be a hard worker. It's just, if you have a test that determines your life and everything is determined by, I don't even remember how long the test is. If everything's determined by that, and you say you're like literally having like the worst day of your life, right? Congratulations, you're stuck to that for the rest of your life. And that's why that's where like the high rate in suicide in Japan comes from. So.
Well then. All right, so the rest of our topics are stuff like the Apple AR glasses they're making, and the drama between H3 and Keemstar. So I have no idea how to make a segue between those.
No, we have one more.
Wait,
I have no idea what either of those things are.
We have the United States government trying to strip its citizens of the First and Second Amendment rights.
That'll at least bring us back to America.
Yeah.
But
so,
we can talk about the unemployment problem right now.
Oh, I have a whole slew of topics on my notes about that.
I mean, we can just talk. Let's just talk about that then. I mean, the unemployment problem is an extremely large issue right now.
This is the biggest economic crisis that we've had since the Great Depression.
So I have some numbers, right? So the unemployment rate is averaged yearly ever since 1948 to 2020 as 5.74%. Right now, as of April of 2020, at the end of April of 2020, it was the highest on record, reaching an all-time high of 14.7%. And an all-time record low of 2.5% in May of 1953. And so in our state of Virginia, it is the rate is 10.6% in April, which is up 3.3% from March.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
Big Rona.
It's my firm opinion that this economic shutdown is going to cause much damage in an order of magnitude higher than the actual virus itself.
Yeah,
I agree. And
the cure was worse than the virus.
Yeah, and I kind of want to touch on like the unemployment, like pay, right? So you get, if you previously worked and you say you worked for a company, you previously worked, you quit, or they had to lay you off or whatever, you file for unemployment, right? You file for unemployment. Let's say you get it. You get unemployment. You get your check, your weekly check for that, plus $600 a month. It's still taxed, but you still get an extra $600. And it's kind of like ridiculous, like, because where I worked, they had to give us an unemployment sheet for 1 week because someone on the bus had the coronavirus. So they had to make us not go for a week, and they were like, "Oh yeah, y'all are gonna have to file for unemployment." And we're like, "Well, if you like, can we choose to file for unemployment?" Like, yeah, it's your choice. You can file for unemployment if you think you're gonna get it, but if you don't, if you know you're not gonna get it, then just don't file for it. And it's like the people would rather, if they file for unemployment and getting $600 extra, some people aren't gonna want to go back to work. They're just gonna want to sit at home and still make $600 extra and do nothing.
That is
So that's
exactly
just my
right.
take. That's just my take on it. And plus, like I've seen, it's where if you like if the company comes to you, right? They come to you and they ask you, they ask you, do you accept work again? Like, you want to refuse work or do you want to accept it? If you refuse it, you don't get any unemployment benefits. And that's how it should be, right? And that's how it is. And I'm pretty sure I may not be right on that, but
Well,
if you
okay.
refuse work, then I think that you don't get any unemployment.
Well, okay. So let's discuss this whole thing as like the whole safety net issue in the first place, and then we can go into more of a specialized thing. So I personally, you guys know me. I'm minimalist government as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Basically libertarian.
Yeah. So the thing is it's like, is a safety net bad? Not necessarily, but the way it's set up currently, yes, extremely.
If the safety net is like easier
Broken.
to do than having an actual job.
So the thing is it's like, as of currently, right, you have the issue of you work and you work and you work, right? And even, it doesn't matter what you're doing working, you take that, and then like Club said, it's an additional $600 a week. It's not a month, it's a week. It's $600 a month, a week, plus whatever you would get from unemployment, right? I don't think for people, like, given that it was a government mandated order, or like a government order that you had to follow, I don't think that was a bad thing in the first place. For certain people, like small business owners who were gonna lose their business, I don't think that was a bad thing, right? Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing for them. But the problem is when people abuse the system. So, I mean, you have people who are working like minimum wage jobs who quit their, or like got fired from their minimum wage jobs, or make $7.25 an hour. At least that's what it is here. And then what happens is they get unemployment, and then it's like, and then when you average it out, it's like whatever the unemployment is plus the 600 is, it's like they end up making, like, if it were a 40-hour week, per that week they'd end up making like $19 an hour, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the idea of unemployment is good, but it should only be temporary, right? So you should only have unemployment pay, like you should be able to get paid between the time that you lost your job and you got your job. I mean, that's how it is. And I mean, I think that's good, but when people abuse it and just refuse work so get unemployment, and then they just don't do anything, then that's when it gets like really bad.
I mean, it's the same thing with welfare.
Yeah.
Welfare, unemployment, it's the same thing. It's you build a dependency for people. That's what it is. Is you get a dependency, and people are like, oh, well, cool, money for nothing. So
Get your chicks for free.
yeah, I knew someone was gonna do it, but that's what it is. It's absolutely money for nothing. Oh, I'm sitting at home. I'm not going out looking for another job. And obviously, right now, it was a little different. I think that we should return to normal. Right? I think that the United States should return to normal. Other than the people who are extremely susceptible to risk, if you want to say that. So like the elderly, and then like I'm talking like 95 years old elderly, and the extremely sick. I think we don't need to have this emergency state anymore, because you've already like caused a major dip in the economy. It's like, so undo it, kind of thing. Undo it so we can get back to our jobs. Undo it so we can fix the normal life, kind of thing. But now that some people have tasted that dependency, they don't want to get off of it. Is the thing. And on the other side, there's some people who have tasted the dependency and they hate it. Like People aren't meant to sit down for 24 hours a day and not do anything. We were made to work. So the problem is, it's like, how do you fix this, right? What do we do to fix this state from now? The only way that you can truly fix it is if you get rid of the source, right? You get rid of unemployment, you get rid of welfare if that's the one you're on, kind of thing. And which kind of sucks because there's definitely people who need it. But the problem is the people who actually need it aren't the people getting it. So,
Yeah, I agree.
There are some people that just have been fired from their job or let go or whatever you call it, and then they can't even file for unemployment because I guess their standard of living is too high or something like that.
Yeah. It's all just messed up. Just how it works. I mean, here in Virginia, we get taxed on Social Security, but like in Tennessee, they don't tax Social Security.
27 to 32% state tax,
Yeah, it's
or 27 to 32% loss in income. That
Yeah.
includes federal, state, and local
so
tax.
I get taxed federal 22%, right? I get taxed 22%. That's how much comes out of my check. 22%. So I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just all ridiculous at this point. I really think we should open up everything. Like some businesses are actually really profiting from this. Like, for
Hand
example,
sanitizer companies.
well, not even just that. Like the off-road companies for four-wheelers and ATVs. I mean, literally, if you go look for a Can-Am four-wheeler at any of the dealers around Virginia or North Carolina, you're not gonna find one. I promise. I went today down there to Triangle Cycles, and they had one Can-Am on the lot. They all sold out, but the problem is they can't get them in right now. They can't get them in because the plant's closed. They're not producing enough to make, the demands of the businesses. They can't send out as much to the businesses. And then that becomes the problem, so people have to wait to get a four-wheeler or a side-by-side or whatever. And then, people that buy it, the four-wheeler or the side-by-side, they're buying them right now because they don't have nothing to do.
Same thing with the computer industry. People are buying
Yeah.
stuff to like try to start streaming at us.
Another good example of that is the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, well, no, like any gaming industry right now is booming.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I'm
there's
using this
better-
as an example. I knew
Especially-
the price beforehand, and now it's like $600.
Especially gaming industry where they don't have to make anything physical, like just games themselves. That's gotta be super profitable.
Oh yeah.
Especially this Animal Crossing thing.
I don't get the deal. What's this Animal Crossing and where are they crossing to?
Who is this dog and why are people turning it into something that should never be looked at?
Tom Nook, I have your son.
I don't get like what people are really doing all that now. Everybody's like, oh, Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing was popular beforehand though.
Yeah, no, it's like popular when I was little, and now it's just becoming even more popular.
It's because they
But I
had a
mean-
new one release.
Yeah.
And Doom Eternal too. Same day.
Well, I mean, you can go into specific games. Like CS:GO has seen its biggest player boom recently, kind of thing. You've seen GTA had a massive player boom recently. It's
I mean,
just,
that's a lot of that's because the whole free thing on Epic
Floof.
Games. Like,
I
check out
mean,
my
I was
Floof.
talking before that, but yeah,
yeah, it had a boom, and then it probably had a secondary boom just from that.
COD Zombies is seeing a revive. So
Yeah. I mean, like, back to the unemployment thing, because I really think this is a really big issue, is the people that don't want to work when they come back, like, if they refuse it, then they shouldn't have unemployment, right? And so the unemployment rate, what I say, like 14, 15% or something like that, right at 15%,
Yeah,
as of the end of April. I mean, that's a lot. 15%. I mean,
That's like Great Depression level.
That's the highest of it's ever been. I mean, the economy will. I mean, once this is all over, the economy, like the stock market and everything, it'll go back up like it usually does. I mean, especially with Trump in office. I mean, the stock market the economy has had great success under Trump. Especially the stock market. I mean, the Dow. I mean, it almost closed at 30,000 before this, and then it went down to like right at like 19. I think the lowest I've seen it was 19 or 20,000. So it dropped like right at 10,000 points.
I don't know, something like that.
Then there's the whole thing of whether this thing is being blown way out of proportion just to get Trump out of office. And
the answer to that
is
yes.
It is.
I mean, yeah, the Democrats, they want to...
COVID-19 doesn't exist.
Well, see, at this point, it like, you guys know my problems with the liberals. I have a very big problem with the liberals, but it's not just Democrats, right? There's Republicans who are blowing this way out of proportion. A few libertarians are. I think it's you have these people in politics who just don't know what they're talking about, kind of thing. I literally went to a restaurant today, right? So I went to a restaurant today to pick up food for my grandmother because she's scared of going out and getting sick, right? Which, look, I understood it at the beginning, but now, what, 45 days in, something like that, it's like I saw, and then like still stuff isn't open up. It's like I went in and it was like one of the restaurants you could only eat on the patio kind of thing. You could either take out or you could eat on the patio. It was like, what? Kind of thing. It's like, no, honestly, and I'm gonna use this as a transition kind of thing. My topic that I picked for this week is the government trying to strip us of our First and Second Amendments, amendment rights, right? So assembly, press, speech, religion.
They already did that with assembly.
Josh, where's your pocket constitution when you need it?
There's one other one in the Second Amendment rights, right? So assembly, I spent the past week in North Carolina, so I was hearing all North Carolina news as opposed to VA news, right? So Cooper put the state into a special state of emergency where it was like a 3-pronged plan or something. I don't remember specifically, but they were like, yeah, religious institutions can't get together. It's like, are you serious? And like, my grandmother watches MSNBC all the time. It's always on in my house. And I was like listening to it today, and they're like, religious institutions like churches, it doesn't matter what religion you are. They were calling everyone out, shouldn't be able to get together, kind of thing. And now people have set up new guidelines for religion in the United States because of Corona. They're like, you shouldn't be able to get together. You shouldn't be able to have more than like X amount of people in the building capacity. You shouldn't be able to have like limitations on like the amount of music, the amount of how loud it is, kind of thing. And it was like, I mean, you guys probably won't see this on the news, but where I was staying, there was a church that was burned down recently. Like I burned down while I was there, kind of thing. And then someone in the parking lot wrote, "I bet you won't get together now, you hypocrites," and they spelled hypocrites wrong. So it's like it's you can see that the government is trying to strip us of our rights. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I think it's a test. I think that they're using. See, I think the coronavirus, it's a real thing. Like, it has affected so many people, but I feel like the government and politicians are using this to test how the Americans would react and how they would conform maybe to what they say and how the government does things. Like, all this assembly stuff is stupid. I think that as an American, we should have the right to do whatever we want and please. If I want to go to the beach, I want to go to the beach. It's my safety. I'm looking out for myself and my family. And if if I want to go camping, I can, but they closed it down. If I want to go to the beach, I should be able to go to the beach, but they closed it down, so you can't go to the beach. So they're forcing you inside. It's almost like they're forcing you to do something. And as an American, I feel like oppressed from that because it's like I should be able to do whatever I want. It's a free country. I should make these decisions. If I want to go jump into the ocean during a hurricane, I should be able to do that. It's my right. It doesn't make it safe, but if I want to do it, I want to do it. And I feel like they're just trying to, they're just trying to strip you of the rights that you have.
Yeah, I mean, so this is one thing that was actually brought to my attention. So the guy I was staying with, his dad and I were discussing politics. So we were, Sam, can you do me a favor? Just back up just a little bit because I think the echo is occurring again.
Yeah, hold up.
So this whole thing is happening, right? And then they're stripping us of our rights, but they're doing so in a way that a lot of people are okay with, because the difference between the Democratic and the Conservative, or the Democratic and every other party, is that the Democrats are saying you're not smart enough to make this decision for yourself, so we're going to make it for you, kind of thing. And you can see that the point that Caleb brought up with swimming or going to the beach or whatever, or camping, let's say assembly, right? Let's take the Raleigh police thing that happened. So a bunch of people wanted to assemble in Raleigh to petition the government, which they are legally allowed to do so. It wasn't in a spot that was private property. They weren't violating private property laws by doing that. They wanted to get together and do a non-violent protest, which legally they should be able to. Correct? Everyone here agrees with that, right?
I agree with that.
Josh?
So
Yeah.
that's their right to petition, and that's their
You
right
don't even
to
have
force.
you don't even have to ask me, of course.
I didn't see your name go green. Or
That's their right for petition, and that's their right for
Go
assembly.
green.
However, Cooper deemed that was not needed in a time of a state of emergency. So the Raleigh police went and told everyone to leave, right? And I could bring up the actual pictures from it, of what happened. Let me see if I can send it to myself, and I'll pull it up on my stream. But the thing is, it's like, we have the right to petition. We have the right to assembly, right? We have the right, and again with assembly, like in church, you have the right for religious freedom. If it's not safe for you to go, you should make that decision. Someone should not make that decision for you, right? And like in a religious place, say you're in a church, right? And you're in a church, and someone in that church still shows up, but they're wearing a mask. They want to be there to practice assembly and practice a religion, right? To practice community in that sense, but they're doing it out of safety. Like, and I'm not saying that everyone should be wearing masks, because that's just dumb, right? If you go back and you rewatch like CNN and MSNBC clips, like a month and a half ago, they said that mask doesn't do anything,
Yeah.
and now they're saying that you should wear one.
You have to wear one. Like
it's
some states
dumb.
require you to wear a mask.
Most establishments
when you go.
require it.
Yeah, like some of the Walmarts and Costco. There's this lady that I saw a video that there's this lady that tried to go into Costco, and they had police standing at the front door requiring you to wear a mask when you went in, right? And she walked up and she didn't have a mask on, so they pulled her to the side and talked to her, and she said, I have a problem with breathing, and I don't like anything on my face. I feel like very claustrophobic. And the worker said, all right, well, you can go talk to the police officer. So she went up to the police, and she's like, well, I don't like anything on my face. I think it's my right to not have to wear a mask. And I feel very restricted when I have a mask. And so they let her in.
Can everyone do me a favor and pull up council chat really quick?
Yeah.
I just sent a picture to it. This is from the actual Raleigh police. So I'm going to read it out. We are aware of the #ReopenNC protest that is occurring in downtown Raleigh on Wilmington and Jones Street, and are monitoring the situation. Protesters are in violation of the governor's executive order and have been asked to leave. #ReopenNC. And this guy asked what part of the governor's order was violated here. And the Raleigh police, this is the official page, by the way, responded, protesting is a non-essential activity.
See, another thing here I'm noticing in this tweet is if you look at the picture, a lot of these people are social distancing, right?
Yeah, like you can look at the picture and they're like 6 to 10 feet apart, right?
I mean, isn't that what they want from us, though? You go into Walmart and you'll see those little stickers that aren't even 6 feet apart, or they're either 3 feet or 10 feet, or it's never 6 feet, like they say. But you know, they force it on us, and then when we do that, but we're protesting, oh, God forbid, no.
Yeah, exactly.
that.
It's the government. The government is using this, and Kleb had the quote for it. I don't remember where it is, where it's like this is essentially people trying to have a new world order, kind of thing. They're trying to control us, and it's not gonna work. Like you guys, like, and the thing is, what's funny about that is people. I probably shouldn't pull that up, but people are doing this for a reason. They want to protest because they want to say you can't take away our rights. And you see the whole thing in Michigan, right? Michigan was one of the first states to go into, at least I believe, was one of the first states to go into state of emergency when this happened. After the 30 days were up, the state legislative deemed that the state of emergency was not needed again, and the governor used executive order, used his powers to override that, right? It's not the governor who makes laws, by the way. It's state legislative.
I just had a question real quick. Is it a woman? Is it a lady that's the governor of Michigan? I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, because you said him, and I was like, oh, I don't think it was a him.
I mean,
but I was just making sure. I just want to make sure of that. I mean, there's no difference between if it was a man or a woman, but I'm just saying though, like, I think it was a woman.
Yeah, Gretchen
lady
Whitmer.
who's
Gretchen Whitmer.
Okay, Gretchen.
Yeah, that's a mistake on my part. I'm sorry for that.
Oh no, we're good. No, I just wanted to clarify that. Like, I just didn't know.
So you'll notice this thing that we're doing right here is sort of an assembly,
yeah,
right?
Well, no, it's not assembly in person, but it's freedom of speech.
No, I was gonna lead into this. You know, you'll realize the viewers at home watching this are realizing we're all in different places.
All three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
I
all
mean, we have YouTube too, so I mean, sorry, Sam. Sorry, go ahead.
It's all right.
Wait, Gavin,
we're
you
all
have
in different
3
places.
viewers
You'll
watching?
realize this. What, on Twitch?
Yeah.
Nice. So you viewers out there, you will understand we're all at home, right? You'll notice the businesses like Peloton, for example. They're now doing all their things at home. You know, the lady's got the 6-foot-long treadmill, and her neighbors are probably crying themselves to sleep because they can't sleep because of that treadmill. But we're all at home doing the same thing, and we're all assembling, but we're social distancing like they want us to, but then they won't let us go out and do that while the same principle is being applied.
Yeah, even in like giant corporations like Walmart, Target, kind of thing, like they have a limitations to the guideline. The Walmart, one of the Walmarts in our area, is said that they can only have like 6,000 people in the store or something like that because of like the square footage and how many you can fit or whatever.
6,000 people.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
When you're gonna
like
find?
Yeah, but it's like, are you really gonna have 6,000 people? Like, why is it deemed like? Why is it that you should limit the number in a business kind of thing? The government. I get it. Like the government's like, yeah, we should look out for safety, right? Like that's what the government is supposed to do. The government is supposed to look out for safety, but in a situation like this, it's not that the government needs to deem that we are in control. We did the state of emergency. We did it. And everybody's talking about how like Bill Gates and everyone's like, you should stay at home until there's a vaccine. Well, originally the CDC said that it would be 3 to 6 months, is what they originally said. Now they're saying it's going to be anywhere upward of 18 months. And it's perfectly fine for Bill Gates, who's sitting there with clones of whoever he wants, like model-wise in his house, in his whatever billion-dollar house that he owns, right? Because he's got the money to do that. He's got the capability to stay at home for the rest of his life. But a lot of people don't have that. So we need to reopen the economy. We need to reopen the United States so people can get back to work. So people can actually do what they not necessarily exactly what they want to do, because if you want to go kill someone, you shouldn't be able to, but like do what they want to do within reason, right?
Within the law.
Yeah, within the law. But if it's an unjust law, then the law shouldn't exist in the first place. Like staying at home until there's a vaccine. If not, you're going to get fined by the police. Well, here's the deal. How are you going to pay that fine if you're not working?
I agree.
Good point.
It's messed up. Which, I mean, I really agree with the 30 days. I think we should have a month. Everybody should have had a month, right? Which,
Look.
I mean, it does put a damper on the economy and the impact of, working. But to be safe, I think we should have had 30 days to self-isolate and kind of, be, stay at home kind of. But after that, I think we should have reopened. I mean, it's been over 70 days now? What is it? I don't even know.
It would have
More than
been
For me, I'm going by how much time, like, since they'd stopped school and I had
Yeah.
to just do whatever. That's
school-wise
much over
for
70
us.
days.
It would have been since Josh and I are at the same university. What was it? Spring break was when they called it.
Yeah, spring break.
March 13th.
March 13th.
Yeah,
So what is
so-
that?
Let's see.
That's
A month
that's
would be
over,
April
that's over
13th.
60 days. It's over
Yeah.
60 days.
So it's like right at 70. It's real close to 70 days.
Yeah, we're at like 68, 60 something like that. So it's like you don't need to have the economy shut down for 70 days.
It just doesn't. It doesn't work. Like it can't work. The economy just cannot. It's very hard to come back from something where it's been shut down for so long. It kind of goes back to the dependency on the unemployment and welfare. And I mean, personally, I think it should have been reopened 35 to 40 days ago. I think it should have been only a 2 or 3 week thing.
I would have said 30 days. Like just keep it an even month. Like you guys know that I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, government control. I think it's but 30 days just to call it safe, right?
I agree with that because I did say 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm in.
I mean, it doesn't anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days kind of thing. That you give, but it's like, and everybody was like, oh, well, then it can lie dormant for 2 weeks. Well, if you're not showing signs, 14, 15 days in, right, then you've got another 15 days of isolation ahead of you. But we're 70 days in, and everything's not the same as it is right now. Like,
See, the issue has changed from quote unquote flattening the curve until there can't be a single COVID-19 death.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that's just not possible.
And the problem is with this as well is people are deeming deaths that aren't COVID-19 as COVID.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I was about to mention this. Washington officials have admitted to putting down gunshot deaths as COVID-19 deaths.
If you
How does that even work?
not even like let's not even take that extreme, right? Let's not
That
take, like-
happened.
yeah, no, it did happen, right? But let's take like even related issues, right? So we know that those extremities have happened, right? They've happened all over the place. If you look at the statistical data for when COVID happened in the United States or when it didn't, oh, Charles left, rip. The issue is deaths that are caused by influenza, pneumonia, lung cancer,
Went
all
away.
of these things hit a statistical zero. They plummeted for the first time in history. It was like you have statics like dips, but when COVID-19 hit, it dropped completely because doctors weren't even bothered by it. They were like, we're gonna deem this as a COVID-19 death even if they didn't have it. And there's an official thing in the CDC. The CDC released like a 20-page document at the beginning of COVID-19 that said that, and there's a paragraph in it that said if doctors in a COVID-stricken area are seeing at least one sign in a patient as opposed to testing them for COVID, they can deem them as COVID-19. They can deem their death as COVID-19. And it's like if people, there have been people who died from COVID-19. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, it's like one of the stories that I've heard is it's like that I read was man has lung cancer because he smoked for 45 years. he smoked for 45 years, which caused him to have lung cancer. He gets COVID-19 and he dies, right? Well, what did he die of? He had stage 4 lung cancer to begin with. I mean,
But
COVID-19 might have
he
been like
died
the
of
final.
COVID.
Yeah, the COVID-19 might have like sped up his death or something, but it wasn't strictly the COVID-19 that killed him.
I mean, if you look in the council chat, I posted the cases, the deaths, and the recoveries in the U.S. And the recoveries, that just seems really low. I don't think that's right. If there's 1,634,900 cases, how is there only 313,000 people that have recovered in 60 days? That doesn't. I don't get that. I mean, if someone could explain, I can't really understand that right now.
It's just a lot of falsified data. It's just what it is.
I agree.
It's a
Like-
scheme to win the election.
Well, so here's the thing, right? If we had a Democrat in president, or we had someone who was more liberal, it wouldn't have been a 70-day restriction.
It
Kind
would
of
have
thing.
been.
It wouldn't have been. It would have
to
been.
be
We would have.
disclosed.
We would have had the 30-day issue kind of thing, and then they would have been like, all right, go back to the thing, because I can guarantee you, when election comes around, it's not going to be like, oh, the dip in the economy was because of Corona. It's going to be.
It's going to be
because
the
of Trump.
Democratic president saved the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Imagine having no soul and destroying the livelihoods of people for political gain.
It
Disgusting.
really doesn't make any sense, honestly. I feel like I remember like when I was growing up, you didn't really have a lot of worries, you were kind of just a kid, so when you grow up you kind of realize more things, you become a little smarter as time goes on, and you're just like, I mean, after living through, I've been involved in politics. I've loved politics. I mean, you could ask my family members. I would sit down with my papa and watch Fox News all day with him. I mean, like, I've loved politics ever since I was probably 12 or 13, right? I've loved it. I don't really like getting into discussions about a lot of it, but I really like seeing it and just listening. I'm more of a listener. So I like listening to people and what they have to say and all that. So I'd hear all these crazy things, and now it dawns on you that this is a political game now. They're making it an issue of political matter, not of Corona matter. We'll say that.
And that also.
They're just trying to blame Trump for it. It's just a political matter. It's a political. They're trying to use it as a political game to hurt Trump during the election.
Also,
that's why they were saying.
Yeah. They're trying to do the mail-in ballots too, which
Yeah.
will obviously bring about voter fraud. But I have here written down voter fraud equals electile dysfunction, and I just wanted to say that.
That's pretty funny, dude. That's actually good.
That's really
So
good.
did you guys see? I might be able to find it, but there was this dude or lady, I don't know who it was, and they were in California, and they just sent out the mail-in ballots, and he got 2 of them. Same person.
serious?
Yes, same person and everything. He got 2 of them. 2 of the exact same ballots sent to the same address to the same person. And he got 2 of them. And this is in California.
Was he a
So
Democrat?
if he sent
or
in 2 votes,
Republican?
that's double the votes. I don't know.
That counts as fraud.
Electile dysfunction.
Oh, I mean, the thing is, it's like even in the 2016 election, there was a massive amount of voter fraud, because people did like, I think it was in North Carolina. It was like there was like, because what did North Carolina vote? Was North Carolina conservative?
Republican.
Trump. Yeah, they voted.
Did I think it was in Virginia? I can't remember which one specifically, but the thing is, it's like in 2016 they found that like 10,000 votes were people who died like 20 years prior, kind of thing.
I believe it.
Isn't it funny how Democrats have to cheat to win an election?
They lost is the thing though. Is it?
Yeah, they cheated and they lost.
and then everyone was like, "Oh, there's sign of collusion with Trump and Russia." And then they did the investigation, and
then
there was
none.
actually signs of the Democrats having collusion.
Yeah, you know, that leaked audio tape of Joe Biden talking with the Prime Minister of Ukraine, directly telling him that if he doesn't fire this general prosecutor that was investigating his son, he would withhold aid from the United States. That's called quid pro quo. That is the definition of foreign emoluments. That is the definition. But of course, you know, he's a Democrat, so he gets away with everything.
My question is how he kept his sentences straight enough to even say that.
I don't think so. Like, actually, like talking about this, I legitimately think Joe Biden has onset dementia. Like that's not even me. Like,
Man doesn't even know what he's planning
that's not even me like roasting him.
You heard he
It's not
said
even-
today?
Yeah,
No, what
he
did he
said
say?
something.
He-
What was
He
it?
said he went on the Breakfast Club podcast,
Yep.
Oh no.
and he said that they were talking about, you know, trying to get to the core of the issues because that club is influential in the black community. You know, they take a lot of influence from that podcast, and it's usually informative. They were saying, you know, but how can we be sure that you're going to work for the benefit of us and everyone else, right? And he said, look, we don't need to worry about that. It's like if you know who to vote for. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Imagine
What?
Imagine
Yep, I heard
saying-
this.
Imagine saying that you're the party of diversity, and the two most eligible candidates for your party are like 70-year-old white men. Okay, like
It's sad.
And one of them's been vice president.
That's
He's been a
really,
politician.
I don't know.
that's really the only reason.
I've got some topics next week that I want to bring up. I think I've already got my topic for next week.
We're an hour and 22 minutes in.
I think
Feels like a good
pretty
place to.
good.
I think that's a pretty good place to call the first one. If you guys are down for that.
All
I'm
right.
down.
Yes, that sounds
So,
fine to me.
You gonna do an
Alright.
outro? Or...
Yeah. This has been Dim Bombolians podcast number 1. I'm Gavin. We've got Sam, Charles, Caleb, and Josh here. It's been a pretty productive week. Tune in next week, probably about the same time. We'll be back for podcast number 2. So thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
great week.
Any closing statements? Just funny phrases or some crap?
I'm currently looking through like meme
I
servers
believe-
on Discord.
I believe poor kids are as smart as white kids.
Joe Biden 2019.
Yeah, actually.
We need to fix the cure,
What's the cure?
or else it'll be worse than the disease.
Oh no.
What? Is that another Joe Biden quote?
All right, guys.
epic.
Thanks for watching.
All right.